Jeremy Fowler at ESPN reporting. They believe the Baltimore Ravens are strongly considering using something called the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar. Basically franchise tagging him, but he's still available if the Jets wanted him. The Jets could say, we'll buy him and offer him a contract. So the Ravens are saying, we like you, but the market's going to dictate what you're worth. We don't think you're worth what you think you're worth. So not only are we going to offer you a franchise tag, but it's non-exclusive, meaning the Jets could come in and buy you. Anybody could. And the Ravens, with that, would get 2 first-round picks. That's the way it's set up in the league. So it's very interesting. The Ravens are saying, unlike Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, they got an owner, and their owner's saying, the money ain't right. You think you're worth this. We don't. We're going to franchise tag you. But if somebody comes in and overspends, that we view overspending for you, we get 2 first-round picks. And you think it's crazy, and it does feel like a gamble because Lamar wins 75% of the games he starts. He does. And I'm not sure how his personality is going to handle this. But here's what's crazy. The Ravens have such a good culture, owner, GM, coach, and a very viable roster. They were competitive last year twice in the last month against Cincinnati. They needed a miracle defensive play to beat Cincinnati, who went toe-to-toe with the Super Bowl champion Chiefs at Arrowhead. And they did it with Anthony Brown and Tyler Huntley. Their culture, it's like San Francisco right now. How good is San Francisco at quarterback? Brock Purdy. Roster, GM, coach, culture, owner is so strong, they don't have to be great at quarterback to be viable. And so it's a little bit of a dice roll. But what they're saying basically in Baltimore is, we think you're valuable, not nearly as valuable as you think. So we'll franchise tag you. That's a very good contract for a year. It's very nice for 1 year, but it's non-exclusive. So if somebody wants to spend greater than we're willing to spend, well, we'll get 2 first-round picks for it. And remember, the Ravens have a good roster. They could move people. They have the 22nd current pick, and they'd get another first. So they could easily move up in the draft. Go up to a 7, 8, 9. Go up to where Atlanta's at. Go up to where Seattle's at. If Seattle doesn't want a quarterback, they move out of the number 5 spot. So this gives the Ravens, this is kind of how to manipulate it. It is a risk. Lamar wins a lot of games. I like him more than others. But they're saying basically, let the market will decide. Are we underpaying you or not? So this, to me, if the Jets do not land Aaron Rodgers, you have to keep your eyes open for the Jets on Lamar, Washington on Lamar in both instances. I think it makes a lot of sense. The Raiders are now front runners for Jimmy Garoppolo, according to Dan Graziano, legitimate reporter. There's a lot of things. You can't go into a season if you're the Raiders, Mahomes, Herbert, and Russell Wilson and Sean Payton with Jarrett Stidham. You got to go big. So, and Aaron Rodgers has already said he's not going to the Raiders. So the Raiders are, as a franchise, they're strangely viable. And hear me out on this. So football's changed because of rules and safety regulations. There are now positions that you have to be elite at. You don't have to be great at safety. You don't have to be great at linebacker. You don't. But you have to be good at left tackle. Raiders check the box. Colton Miller. You've got to have weapons. They really check the box. Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. They have a running back and a decent O-line, Josh Jacobs, that can eat the clock. They can play with a lead, eat the clock. They have an edge rusher in Max Crosby. The Raiders did not finish in 4th place. They finished in 3rd, and 9 of their 11 losses were 1 possession. They've got a Minnesota Vikings feel to them, where first year, they've got an offensive coach, they're putting in a system. You could see them bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, who, of course, was in New England with Josh McDaniels. He knows the offense with these weapons. They're not going to be a huge drop-off to the offense. That's not going to be the drop-off. The question is, with all their draft capital and their cap space, can they go buy an elite corner? Because they actually check the box on the defensive line. They have a great pass rush. Crosby's a great, great player. So they could go buy a Jalen Ramsey. They could go buy him. This team checks in 2023, there's about 6 boxes. Offensive coach, edge rusher, weapons, left tackle, quarterback, corner. They check all of them except quarterback this morning and corner. And there's Jalen Ramsey is one of the kid at Tampa. Tampa has a really good corner that's going to be on the market. Go buy him. Go buy Jalen Ramsey and then put Garoppolo in. They're strangely viable. If you go look at teams that lose a large number of one-possession games, generally that's random. You come back. I remember one year Russell Wilson had a great record in one-possession games. Even with great quarterbacks, that's not the way it works. That's why I called Minnesota as the most improved team in the NFL this year. Now, I didn't suspect they'd go 11-0 in one-possession games. But 9 of the 11 losses for the Raiders were a rookie, a first-year head coach, a first-year GM. It's not their quarterback, Derek Carr. He's trying to figure out their system. So my guess is Garoppolo in this system that he knows is going to be much better in one-possession games. That is my guess. And if you look at the Raiders' schedule, they didn't finish 4th last year. They finished 3rd. A lot of winnable stuff. Home games against teams many believe will regress. The Giants, the Vikings. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers will even be a Packer. Who's going to be the Jets quarterback? And road games against the Colts, Lions, Bears. Those could be winnable. So it's not a daunting schedule. Go buy a corner. You have the 3rd most cap space in the league. Garoppolo fits into this system, which he knows well. There are a lot of teams in this league we just think aren't very good. Half of the playoff teams this year will not make it next year. So the Raiders, I watched them all year long. They're bizarrely viable. They're not the Bears. The Bears don't have a number 1 receiver. They don't have an edge rusher. We don't know if they have the right quarterback. They've got a defensive coach. The Bears have 8 boxes they don't check. Raiders check them all. Except corner, go buy one, and quarterback, this could be your guy who knows the system. So I think keep your eye on the Raiders. There's going to be a lot that happens here. Desperation speeds up any business. So if Garoppolo in the next 48 hours signs with the Raiders, the Lamar Jackson situation, the Jet situation, the Aaron Rodgers situation, those dominoes are going to fall fast. So the Derek Carr move today by the Saints really puts the Jets in a corner. What are they going to do? Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.